This week, Monday Night Raw was in your face. I don't know why, it's just a line that popped up on their social media earlier in the day, and then of course throughout the night the commentators kept saying it's Raw, in your face. I can't think of anything I want in my face, or if you tell me you're going to put something in my face, it's not really something I get excited about unless it's like a pizza. If you had said Raw, pizza in your face, I'd be like, sweet, I'm going to get a cheesy treat. I don't know where they come up with this stuff. But my name is Simon, and this is WhatCulture Wrestling, and before we decide whether Raw was really, really good or really, really bad, let's take the finger of power and give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down. Then you'll get all mad at me in the comments and you'll throw things. It's like ping, ping, ping. It's like I'm wearing a bulletproof vest. It's like I'm RoboCop. Let's up those downs. As well as Tom Phillips having a second week of absence from the commentary team, Samoa Joe was also not there. And this makes me raise an eyebrow a little bit because there was a rumor going around early on Monday that a big star in WWE has decided not to re-sign when their contract runs out. Now, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just speculating. But again, like I say, it made my eyebrow goes towards the roof. Dolph Ziggler took Joe's place for a little while and he was fine. And of course, because it is Raw, out came somebody to talk. And thankfully, it was the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. And the first thing that Drew told us is that Randy Orton is lucky that he's still walking around with his head. So his plan was to decapitate another human being. Welcome to wrestling. He went on to tell us that officials had told him to take more time away from the show, but he was never going to do that because he would rather be taken out of there in an ambulance every single week than risk losing his WWE title. And I was like, Drew, there's a happier option than this. Just go to Raw and don't leave and have to go to a local medical facility. Just do that. This was all to give the match at Clash of Champions a stipulation, and it's going to be an ambulance match. And I sat there going, what the hell is an ambulance match? Then I realized that Drew had made a little bit of a verbal typo. He meant to say local medical facility wagon match. And I was like, oh, I totally understand. It's also a really stupid thing to actually challenge Randy to, because if I recall, you don't pin or submit people in that one. You just throw them into the wagon, so Drew McIntyre could actually lose his belt by fluke. McIntyre also said that Randy is going to lose anyway because of the most deadly move in all of sports entertainment, and he was referring to the Claymore kick. And I was like, wait, calm down, Drew. You want me to send my lawyer after you? For starters, its most devastating move, and the answer is surprise roll-up. I have a board. WWE then continued on with these awful, just stupid Photoshopped images they did, because much like Randy Orton's a few months ago, whenever it was, Drew now had all of these mock-ups of people that he Claymore kicked in the hospital, and I was like, it looked like a 4-year-old did that. Like, I'm really bad at Photoshop, but I could have done a better job than this. And Drew was told to laugh. He was like, then they piped in laughter. I had a moment. Because stuff just happens, Adam Pearce then appeared on the rampway, because he's just in control of WWE now, putting the puppet strings, and he said, one, Drew, you're an idiot, because you beat up Randy Orton so badly last week, he's not here tonight, and he may miss the pay-per-view, and two, because of that, now your match with Keith Lee later. If Keith Lee is able to beat you, he shall replace Randy Orton if Randy Orton is not able to make it to the pay-per-view. And I was a bit like, wait a minute, if Keith Lee beats Drew McIntyre, shouldn't he be the champion? But don't worry about it. Thankfully, Drew finally did ask, how the hell are you making all these decisions, Adam Pearce? But unfortunately, we didn't get an answer because Keith Lee came out to confront Drew McIntyre, although all they did with that thing was where you shake each other's hand and then one of you goes to walk away, but you pull them back. Then they kissed. They did not kiss. This was fine though, it gave their match some extra weight, although deep down I was a bit like, I kind of feel like we should have kept Drew off the television until Clash of Champions, but whatever, it was decent up. It was then time for our interbrand match between both sets of the tag team champions, and as we quickly discovered, the belts weren't on the line here, so we literally did it for the sake of doing it. I think because WWE's really scared about ratings. But look, at least it wasn't the Street Profits versus Andrade versus Angel Garza, which has been going on for around about 500 years. Thought it was quite enjoyable. Up. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura were just so mad early on because they think Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are idiots, and yeah, they just had a really good match. At one point, Ford dived over the top rope. He got caught by the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, who just threw him into the barricade. And that looked like it hurt. As ever, too, Cesaro was just brilliant, and I've now rewritten what it means to be alive. Because you get born, come out your mother's womb-wham, then you have to go to school, then you pay taxes, Cesaro will have some kind of excellent match somewhere in the world, and then we all die. That's life. Finish was fine too. Dawkins had made a blind tag, which the Swiss Superman didn't see, and it allowed Montez Ford to hit that most ridiculous frog splash, and he pinned Cesaro, because of course he did. Cesaro always loses in some sense. And yeah, I don't know why we did this, but was I enjoying myself? I absolutely was. Given that we had just seen the Street Profits, of course we had to tie in Andrade and Angel Garza to this in some sense, so we cut to the back and we saw Angel flirting with Lana, even though Lana just wanted to talk about the fact she was really, really upset that Mickie James had a title shot later against Asuka. Probably should be focusing on other things right now. And then I think it actually finally happened, because when Zelina Vega and Andrade did arrive, Zelina was like, Angel Garza, you are a piece of trash. You are rubbish. You cost us our tag team match last week, and now we're nowhere near getting the belts. And Andrade was like, yes, I agree. And then they started to fight, and because Zelina Vega was done with this, she's like, oh, I can't handle these stupid children anymore, and walked off. There was no one to break them up after their bickering. So yeah, I think that's it. They're done. What I do think we need to do now, though, is just take a moment for all of the teams that have fallen by the wayside in WWE over like the last 3 weeks. Obviously, these guys are now gone. The Iconics, they broke up. Sasha Banks and Bayley, they broke up. Seth Rollins and Murphy, they're not having a good time at all. Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, let's just stand here and bow our heads and remember the good times. Can't believe we all just did that. The Hurt Business then came out and smashed it up. They are just such a good group. For starters, they actually look like a faction because they dress like each other. And even though Cedric Alexander doubled down on everything he said last week when it was like, look, I'm bored of being beaten up by the Hurt Business, so I joined the Hurt Business, which is a bit like, you know, Batman Riddler logic. I just don't care because straight away he feels like a bigger star than maybe he ever has done in World Wrestling Entertainment. Because he wants to succeed, damn it. He doesn't want to be a loser like Apollo Crews and Ricochet. And of course, because he mentioned their names, out came Apollo and Rick O'Shea, and they were so mad because they're like, no, we're not losers. You're a loser, and if you think you're just going to come back into our group, you're mistaken. Instead, we're going to get in there and kick your ass. So now these guys kind of have a fire under them too, so all of this has been really good. We were then told it was going to be Alexander versus Ricochet, and like some kind of budget cheap Stone Cold, I was like, oh hell yeah, because I was so excited. And even though there was a little bit of nonsense, and they said Apollo Crews brawl with Shelton Benjamin, and Eric of the Viking Raiders was out there to brawl with Bobby Lashley, this was just a straight up match, and I thought it was awesome. And it ended after Cedric Alexander gave Ricochet a lumbar check that he sold by firing himself up into the moon. I mean, I think he's still in orbit, but when he did come back down, 1, 2, 3, Cedric Alexander actually got a dominant win, justifying his heel turn, which means he made the right decision. You think that would have been it too, but no. Retribution had to appear on the big screen, and what is this gibberish that they talk? They compared themselves to garbage, and then they were saying, if you like the machine, well, we don't like the machine, and we don't like you. They've got these stupid robot voices. Once again, they sound like Bane from The Dark Knight Returns. Rises. Don't get it. They're down. They do seem to have more members, because even though there was 5, they were then joined by about 722 other people, and they just sound like a bunch of kids who have taken their first psychology lesson. Mickie James then cut a decent promo, because of course she is going to be taking on Asuka later for the Raw Women's Championship, and she's going to use all of her experience and win. And then Adam Pearce was telling off his crappy security guards, who to be fair are crappy. They're meant to stop Retribution, and yet they turn up every week. But that's when the Hurt Business, officially the new Corliss group on Raw, were like, look, we'll take care of it for you. These guys don't know what they're doing. And even though Adam thought they were doing a favour, they all laughed like, ha ha ha, what do you think our name is, you peon? And they said they'd send him a bill. Even still, this gets so good. It was then Asuka versus Mickie James for the Raw Women's Championship, and I thought it was okay. Up. And all we need to do is talk about the finish, because up to this point they were just having a really good match on the show known as Monday Night Raw. Now I don't really understand what happens here, but there's a bunch of rumours that maybe Mickie James got injured, or maybe there was some confusion between her and the referee, but ultimately they didn't mean to do this, so I don't think we need to crap on it, because basically Asuka locked in the Asuka lock, and I thought I saw Mickie James tapped, but maybe I did, and maybe I didn't. The referee was clearly confused, as were the commentators, and that's where the bad stuff comes. You need the commentators to be like your dad holding your hand, because if they let go, you're like, I don't know what's going on, I need somebody to explain. So that's where it kind of fell down, but Asuka did win. She beat Mickie James. It didn't, help the overall feeling of the thing, but mistakes happen. Let's all be nice. Also, we can't all be up in arms about Matt Hardy carrying on a match, and then if Mickie James did get injured here, go, well, it spoilt my entertainment of this fight. You can't have it both ways. Talking about fathers holding your hand though, I do think that Puppy probably needs to grab WWE mitts and take them in the right direction, because it's quite clear they're just making up the Raw Women's division as they go. What I mean by that is when Asuka was celebrating, being like, yeah, I'm still the champion, out came Zelina Vega, got right in the Empress of Tomorrow's face and said, I think you suck. You basically stole that title from Becky Lynch and you have done nothing ever since. She then climbed the steel grate that was behind her in the Thunderdome and jumped off with her giant claw mitt and mask and attacked Asuka. That's not true, that's what Vega from Street Fighter does. That's literally the joke I made, I'm sorry. What she did do, however, was slap Asuka right round the face, and before Asuka could absolutely whip her ass, Zelina Vega ran away. But now I do think we're going to get Zelina Vega versus Asuka for the title, and again, that is just so out of nowhere. One, she's been a manager for the past 65 million years, and two, the last time she did have a fight, she lost to Bianca Belair, who, by the way, is still missing and nobody cares. Well, I care, Bianca. I'm gonna come find you. Bobby Lashley then squashed Eric, and I did say to myself, did we need to do this? Was this fair? I mean, not only has poor Eric lost his friend because Ivar is out injured, it means he can't go and Viking raid, whatever the hell he does in his spare time. And here, he kind of looked like a bit of a loser. And I feel worried for him, because you know how it goes in WWE. If you lose your tag team partner to injury, and they put you in the singles division, you're just like a wet blanket. Did make Bobby Lashley look badass. And once again, I love the Hurt Business, but you could have not have done this and it wouldn't have made a blind bit of difference. He went after the Lashley lock or the Hurt lock. They actually changed the name every single damn week. Down. Kevin Owens then finally said all the things that needed to be said about Aleister Black. He still doesn't know why he's coming after him, given that he had nothing to do with his eye, but clearly he's upset because his discount voucher didn't work in Hot Topic. That made me chuckle, and also because he sat his ass in a dark room for a year and it's clearly screwed up his brain. You not wrong. I suppose the WWE just hasn't come up with an idea about why Aleister Black attacked KO, which is why he's saying all of these things, but he finished it by going, I'm going to send him back into his black painted bedroom. I also didn't understand why Dabba Kato or Baba Kato, whatever the hell his name is, just didn't care about these two guys anymore, given that last week he whipped their ass, but Raw Underground just exists as some kind of alternative reality where nothing matters. Kevin Owens was great here though. Up. And that's doubly so because afterwards we cut to Aleister Black, who was being a pirate now, and he just watched Kev walk away in the distance. I liked it. Braun Strowman, he of SmackDown fame, was then yelling at Shane McMahon because he wanted to enter Raw Underground. Now thankfully Byron Saxton said, wait a minute, why is Braun Strowman allowed to do this, when Michael Cole nonchalantly just went, well, you know, anybody can enter Raw Underground. I was like, okay, great, thanks a lot, Mike. Helpful as always. And honestly, Shane McMahon was so happy about this, it was like a child bouncing around on a pogo stick. When he did debate it at first though, Braun also said, if you don't let me through the door, I'm going to use you to open it. And I've been trying to figure this out all day. Unless he was going to pick him up and like use his head to pull the handle down and open the door, I don't understand how a human being could do that. I overthought it. We then had the funniest segment of 2020, and it wasn't meant to be funny at all. But because of that, skin it up. Seth Rollins was in the back when Murphy approached him, and he was really cautious and he was really worried given everything that happened with him and the Mysterio family last week. And if you don't remember, they all got kendo sticks and absolutely whipped his ass. And while Seth was all nice and buddy-buddy, or irony, at first, he then went crazy, snapped on a dime, and hit Murphy so hard around the face, my cheek went red. He told Murphy to stay in the back when he has his cage match with Dominik Mysterio later because he doesn't know what he's doing. So now, not only is Seth Rollins a cult leader, he's also some kind of like emotional abuser, but it was just the way he exploded from nowhere. So if you've ever played LA Noire, remember LA Noire, that game? It was really good. When you were interrogating people, you could do 3 options, one of which was doubt. And doubt was just meant to be you prod your suspect a little bit more, but every time Cole Phelps, the main character, just went, tell me what I want! And you were like, that's not what I was trying to do. This was Seth Rollins, and it rocked. We then confirmed that Mandy Rose has moved to Raw, and everybody calmed down, it's just part of the storyline, let it play out. And we had an interview with the Mysterio family where Dominik is ready, but his parents are really concerned. Of course, Ray, you have ruined this family unit. Why you keep bringing them to Raw, I don't know. It's clearly causing them emotional distress, and now you are going to allow them to watch their son and their sister and their loved one get thrown around a steel cage. Rey Mysterio, worst father of the year, worst husband of the year, and yet somehow still the greatest babyface. You just gotta love him. It was then time for this cage match, and we must be intent on wearing Dommy Boy out before he's 25, because think of what he's done already, and now he's in this thing, and it was brilliant. I think Dominik Mysterio is my new favourite wrestler. I'm only half joking. Up. Murphy ignored his boss's request and he was out there, and it was good for Seth Rollins because he was able to get him a kendo stick, and these two just absolutely brutalised each other, including at one point Seth grabbing Dominik's face and just like mashing it into the steel, like he wanted to turn him into a pancake. Ray eventually threw a kendo stick of his own in there so that his son had some kind of balance, and he didn't seem to care that Murphy was doing all of this stuff on the outside, which eventually came back to bite him in his bum, because Murphy went, all right, I'll beat you up. And he did. There was a great moment where Dominik was trying to get out of the cage, but Seth Rollins reversed that into a superplex followed by the Falcon Arrow, and that really should have been the finish, and who cares? But unfortunately, Murphy probably should have listened to his boss, because at one point he went to swing the door into Dominik's head, and he hit Seth instead. This was all one big tease to make you think that the younger Mysterio was going to win though, but of course he wasn't, and Rollins was able to get back in control, hit 2 curb stomps, and I just want to give these just a round of applause. I love Dominik Mysterio. I think Seth Rollins has been brilliant too. It's just so great to watch. He was not done though, because he was so enraged that his skull had been ruined, which I could completely understand. He went to Murphy afterwards and did the same to him. This was also funny because he was saying, oh, now you know how it feels, you moron. And as he was leaving, he said to the Mysterio family, I hope you do a better job in bringing up your daughter. Seth Rollins may have just found this character and turned it up to 42. He definitely didn't care either, because during all of this, Ray had slipped into the ring to make sure that his offspring was okay, and of course in the past, Rollins would have used that as an advantage to try and remove somebody's eye. Interestingly too, when mother and daughter also went to check on their loved one, Aaliyah checked on Buddy Murphy first, and the camera lingered on this, so maybe there's some kind of romance angle brewing. If that does happen, I'll join you, Ray. I'll rip out my eyes. Raw Underground was next. Down we go. Now, I should have said this earlier, but Dolph Ziggler had been replaced on commentary by MVP, and I realised here it was because Ziggles was going to compete in Raw Underground, and he submitted some nobody out, and then he was fighting with Riddick Moss when, of course, Braun Strowman turned up, and much like Kevin Owens last week, I was like, I saw him go through the door. Where has he been hiding? He murdered everyone, including knocking Dolphy Boy Blue right out of the ring, and I'm just going to give it to you straight. This isn't really what I want from Raw Underground. Like, I see Braun Strowman running around SmackDown all the time going, get those hands, Monster Man, I shout at everything. And when it does come to Raw Underground, I just want fake, real fights. Also, the most important thing you need to know is that when Dolph Ziggler had won his first match, Shane McMahon was shouting, who wants a piece of Dolph? But because he was saying it so fast, it sounded like he was saying, who wants a pizza, Dolph? And I was like, I want a pizza, Dolph. That sounds lovely. I'll have it with extra cheese. Drew McIntyre was being interviewed next, and I thought this was going to be your basic promo, but it was so much more than that, because halfway through, Keith Lee interrupted. He's like, look, Drew, I don't appreciate you right now. I know we're meant to be friends, but I think you're being a bit of a dick. Like, why did you have to get involved with my match with Randy Orton last week? And McIntyre turned around and went, well, Mr. Lee, I'm pretty sure that I saw you get RKO'd, so maybe I was doing you a favor. Then Keith Lee was like, well, Mr. McIntyre, how do you know that I wasn't going to win? Because I've had 3 matches with Randy Orton, you've interfered in 2, and the one you didn't. Who got the victory? It was me. I love Keith Lee. Rhymed. He then went to touch the title, and Drew slapped his hand away like a mother who had just cooked cookies and was telling their child, not now, you have to wait till after dinner. And then they started to brawl. And somehow you had taken both baby faces and made them feel like badasses, and I can't remember the last time WWE did that. I'm giving it another up. Strowman was then back on Raw Underground, and he was continuing wrecking people, including Titus O'Neil, who had been outside the door going, let me in! And I bet he regretted that. And then later on, he did have a face-to-face with Dabba Kato, was forgotten everything he did with Aleister Black and Kevin Owens. And like I say, this just felt like something I would have seen on Friday nights. It didn't work for me. I still like Raw Underground. I like the visual change, but I would take a different direction with it all. Down. Kevin Owens then defeated Aleister Black. And I must have missed something, because I didn't realise they were actually going to have a match on this show. But okay, I mean, why not? I liked it. Black attacked Kevin before the match, which really helped him out because he was able to focus on Kevin Owens' knee, which he sold wonderfully throughout. And then, yes, the lights started to flicker, and I just can't handle it anymore, because I just have this vision of these stupid people in their masks going, That is not intimidating. It also did the same to Aleister Black because he was so stunned by this, he walked into the stunner and Kevin Owens beat him. Well, I guess that's it. It's the end of the feud. MVP wanted somebody to do something about this, and Cole actually rightfully said, well, you said you were going to do something about it, so why don't you? But we were building to something later. Keith Lee then continued to be an absolute hero because he tracked down Drew McIntyre and started to beat him up again before Adam Pearce had arrived. And I know we talked about fathers and dads and families a lot, but this was the ultimate dad because he was like, would you two just stop it? I am absolutely sick of it. I will turn this car around if you two don't calm it. He didn't do that. What he did do is said, if you keep fighting, there's not going to be any match tonight and there's not going to be any match at Clash of Champions. I was a bit like, that doesn't make any sense. Truly, WWE's promoting this because they're going to make a lot of money. The women's tag team division, however, is not really doing it for me. I know, bald egg, I don't care. Down. Because Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan just beat Lana and Natalya, and now they're going to have a match against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax at Clash of Champions, which led the women's tag team champions, who probably should have attacked Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, to beat up Lana and Natalya, and Lana went through a table. They're also on commentary. I could have turned this off, but I didn't. The main event itself, though, was flipping great, quite literally. Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre, I just thought had an awesome match where Drew was kind of acting like the little man because Keith is so big. And at one point when they did this double cross body spot and just smashed into each other, I realized I was one happy tamale. I should have been able to smell that something was coming, but actually it got pulled off quite well. Because as soon as both guys were back on their feet, Retribution swarmed the ring, and while Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre tried to fight them off, there was honestly around about 2,000 people in that group now, so the numbers game won out. But then the Hurt Business's music played, they came out, and as I already said, and I will say again, they are just the coolest group because they looked at each other, they contained themselves and went, well, we are the Hurt Business, we've been paid to do this, let's go and get some retribution. If that wasn't enough though, because they did start fighting on the outside, Drew and Keith were able to get their wits about them, and then they simultaneously hit the ropes and simultaneously did these crazy dives that men their size shouldn't be doing. I know this is old hat and boring, but if there had been fans in this arena, they would have lost their minds. This was a really great way to go off air, but you have to reveal Retribution now. You just do. You can see who it is anyway when they're fighting, and I won't spoil it for you in case you want to enjoy that in terms of the story and the narrative. But like, there's no mystery anymore. I'm just sat there going, mate, tell me who they are. What do they want? Tell me who they are. Just stop it. Kill the crazy, crazy voices. You've set up a bunch of, well, directions you can go in now. But it's time to pull the trigger and get them going. Otherwise though, I thought this was a really good Raw and far better than it has been in recent weeks. I'm intrigued about what we're going to do with Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, and now Keith Lee, who has inserted himself into the main event picture, don't forget. And you know, Kevin Owens, Aleister Black, and Zelina Vega, Asuka, all these other things. I liked it. I'm pumped. I'm ready. Let's get it up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Head over to WhatCulture.com where you can read articles about Raw. Can you believe it? Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me. And remember, tomorrow is ups and downs for Impact, and who knows what else we'll do this week.